With the NFL Combine going on in Indianapolis right now, what that means is the entire NFL world is currently in Indy. Head coaches, general managers, agents, players, everyone in between, including media and reporters. And what happens at these events, as someone who has covered the NFL Combine since 2022, wasn't able to make it this year due to a vacation, but still, I can talk to it from a place of understanding. There's a lot of mingling that goes on. And when I say that, a lot of talking, a lot of sharing of information and things that happen all the time. It's one of the actually more entertaining parts of the NFL Combine being there on site. And with that being said, Deebo Samuel is obviously one of the top stories in the NFL right now, in the sense of what his future will be. We heard already from Jordan Schultz this morning that there is a lot of interest around Deebo Samuel, specifically with the Houston Texans and the Commanders. Both teams have ties to the 49ers with general manager Adam Peters, who used to work with the 49ers, and of course, D'Amico Ryans, who used to coach for the San Francisco 49ers. So clearly that makes a lot of sense. But what I really do find to be interesting about this is the pacing in which these reports are starting to come out. This is something that I have noticed over doing this for so many years and tracking these reports and trends, that there is a cadence to them. And especially around trade news. Sometimes the trade news, it kind of gets leaked a little bit before it comes out. And with that being said, I think the point of why it does get leaked is it's supposed to help generate uh, either more trade compensation or more sense of urgency from one side or the other. So what is happening right now with Deebo Samuel is he finds himself kind of in the middle of that, and which is why I think these things are accelerating. You have Matthew Berry. We already talked about the report that came out earlier today, but Matthew Berry, who works for NBC Sports, says, my annual late night total rumors at the NFL Combine, in quotations, column will come out next week, but one rumor I heard that may be out of date by the time it gets published is that Deebo Samuel will be traded very soon. Multiple teams are interested in Deebo. Commanders are one of them. And again, the reason why I provided the context of the trends and how some of these reports come together is that it is trending towards that being the case. We see this stuff happen all the time. Little drops, little drops, little drops, and then boom, the news breaks. So it's basically the thought process of where there's smoke, there's fire. So there's a lot of smoke around this notion that Deebo Samuel could and will be traded. Many people believed that, at least early on in this process, that the only option was for uh, Deebo to get released, either as a post June 1st designation or prior to the point where his contract guarantees kick in, which I believe is March 22nd, where he gets in the range of 15 million guaranteed if he is still on the 49ers roster. So there are some invisible deadlines here. And I think that March 22 date is that deadline. So because the 49ers, they're already going to be on the hook for $31 million in dead cap. They don't want to pay him a guaranteed lump sum of money either, on top of taking on that dead cap hit. So a decision will be made within the next month. But as we're hearing, and everything is starting to come out from multiple places, is it sounds like the trend of where things are headed is Deebo Samuel will likely get traded. And I do think that this is the best case scenario for the San Francisco 49ers. When you have a asset who teams still deem as valuable, you absolutely want to get something in return. And the conversation about Deebo's dead cap hit, it is here to stay, whether you like it or not. Whether he's traded now or he's a post June 1st release, That $31 million dead cap hit is a $31 million dead cap hit. You just have to decide if you want to pay the majority of it up front now, all of it up front now, or take a little bit less on the dead cap hit this year and pay a big portion of it next year. So there's no real savings here. Like, you're not saving. You're taking on a $31 million dead cap hit. It's just how you want to allocate it. And that's what the post June 1st designation does. So if I'm of the 49ers and I'm in this dilemma where these two sides are moving on, Deebo's going to move on. It is what it is, right? Get something for him. And I don't care if it is just a 5th round draft pick. Get something for Deebo. Get a player, get a draft pick, player and draft pick. Get something in return for Deebo Samuel, because although his public perception is at an all-time low in regards to what fans think of him, I think what media thinks of him, and all of those things, there still is a different probably thought process on the football side of things. And we saw glimpses of it last year. You look at the Miami game, Deebo Samuel went crazy. He showed you, like, he's still capable of being a dynamic player. So I think that's one positive that the 49ers have going for them, is they could still obtain value for Deebo Samuel. The only problem is the dead cap hit is the dead cap hit. So there's no real kind of, getting around it. It's what they got to do and how it's going to be. So it's an unfortunate situation from that standpoint. But like I said, what I'm kind of gathering from the way this is being reported on, the trends and how it's being discussed and talked about, is that I would have to believe that like I said, it's smoke season, baby, and we are veteran smoke chasers. And based on the trends in which I'm seeing, it does feel like Deebo Samuel could actually get traded. He should get traded from a 49ers perspective. And clearly, if there are teams interested, well, let's get something done. Let's make it happen. And what do the 49ers get in return? I'm not really sure what that looks like, because, like I said, his perceived value in the public could be a lot different than perceived value inside these football buildings, because, like I said, his public perception is at an all-time low. I don't think just among 49er fans. I think amongst casual NFL fans as well. So it'll be fascinating to see what he could fetch, but I do think that you could get an early day 3 for sure. The real ideal situation is you can somehow leverage a day 2 pick out of it, like a 3rd round pick. If you get a 3rd round pick for Deebo, that would be a massive, massive win. I talked about it early on in this process. I didn't really think that the 49ers would cut Deebo, because if they cut him, he wouldn't be able to trigger the comp pick formula. So they would just be taking on a $31 million dead cap hit and not getting anything in return. And that's just not how the 49ers have proven to do business. So, and we saw that with Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo could have been released, but they said, we think he's worth something, so we're not going to do that. And sure enough, they kept him. And as a result of keeping him and then letting him go as an unrestricted free agent, they netted a 4th round draft pick in return. So they used him until he got hurt, and they also got a draft pick, a 4th round comp pick. So that's like how I think of how the 49ers would do business. So I would imagine the 49ers would do the same thing with Deebo. Either we're going to trade you or we're going to keep you, because your cap hit is going to stick around no matter what. I don't, but maybe the hang up is that guaranteed money on March 22nd, like we talked about. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But let me know what you guys think about this whole process in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.